Okay, welcome back to another episode of Big Classic Podcast. I'm my man, Walter Sellers.
Yo.
And me, Biggie Smalls, and we are here today to discuss some of your favorite topics in the health industry. It doesn't matter how hard you work out. If you can't consistently do it, it will not yield the results you want. So we are going to discuss how we want to, if you happen to get injured, how do you recover as quickly as possible? So what are you using in your repertoire of things?
People right here don't get hurt. I'm just kidding. Yeah, first thing to do, depending on what the situation is, if I think it's a sprain or something like that, we're going to take them to the ER and make sure we get an MRI or X-ray to make sure there's nothing major wrong. After that, if it's just something microfascial, then we suck it up, ibuprofen. But if it's something more, then we'll change a little bit of how we train. One day off doesn't change the game dramatically, but understanding what's wrong is paramount, at least for me. And what we do here, we need to understand what's going on because we don't want to cost anybody the ability to keep training
Right.
on and off.
So when we talk about injuries, maybe it's more of an annoying aspect, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are some of the main things we see as lifters, right? Rotator cuff stuff,
Sure.
elbows, tendonitis,
Sure.
patella tendonitis in the knees, tight hips, things of that nature. Plantar fasciitis is big. Things of that nature that we see consistently, even if you're training with great technique. Even if you're being cautious with your loads and not overdoing it. These are common things that happen because, let's face it, the trauma we're putting on our body as bodybuilders or strength athletes in general is not what the body's meant to do, right? So, but that same stress is what causes us to get bigger, stronger, and faster, right? So, but for me, one of the main things I encourage people to do off the bat is deep tissue massage.
Sure.
Break down the fascia, keep everything loose, so you don't have too much tension. I mean, do you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. A good defense is a good offense. Sometimes is better than a good defense. In this instance, being proactive is definitely something I believe in. Everybody warm up for 5 minutes on a treadmill, and then we stretch before we lift.
Sure.
Just small stuff like that I employ to try to make sure that we get blood into the tissue before we start training, because I do think that resistance training is the fountain of youth. So we want to make sure we minimize the opportunity for risk.
Right.
Sure. And one thing that I also do is, whether it's a seasoned person I'm working with or someone who's new, we do 2 or 3 very, very light sets, maybe 20% or 25% of what their max is with it, to make sure the form is going to be correct.
Yeah.
Again, getting their body and their brain, their mind-muscle connection on for that particular exercise to minimize the opportunity for injury. Eventually I think everyone at some point in time is going to suffer some kind of injury on that level. Nothing catastrophic, but it could be, like you said, a lot of my clients today, their erector spin A is a big one, right? Because people sit at the computer desk all day.
Sure.
So they're stretching their lower back in a bad position. So we try to incorporate warm up and stretch to make sure we hit that every single time. And it's one of those things, like you said, we're all going to experience it. It's just, how do we minimize all those things? I think warm up and stretch ahead of time helps.
Right, sure. Now, how do you feel, like, one of my big preventative techniques also, and heavy day of rack deadlifting, heavy day of push pressing, heavy day of squatting, sometimes leads you to have a very good session with the chiropractor.
Absolutely.
Do you believe in that?
Every Friday morning at 10 a.m. That's
Okay.
where I am.
Okay.
Regardless of how heavy I lift or don't lift that week, it's one of those preventive things.
Right.
I'm a big believer in chiropractic medicine. I think that we, like you said, we put so much compression on our spine and our joints that it needs to have that type of adjustment to help us live our best life, at least in this lifestyle that we've chosen.
Right. I was talking to a guy today. He's been dealing with upper trap pain, and he said, he's getting some tingling in his arm. And I said, well, what are you doing about it? He said, I went to the doctor and he put me on this muscle relaxer and this anti-inflammatory. I said, 2 visits to the chiropractor, probably be gone. Most likely you got something pinching, vertebrae that's out of whack, click, and you're good to go.
Yep.
He's like, I don't know if I believe in chiropractic. I said, you don't believe in chiropractic, but you've been to the doctor multiple times and nothing's happened, and you keep going.
That's it.
Right. So I definitely believe chiropractic is a must, not a luxury. A must if you're training heavy and intensely. Especially, if you're working out, chiropractic can definitely help. But if you're really training hard for something, that can create a lot of trauma on your body. I think chiropractic is necessary to make sure not only that you're not in pain, but so that everything contracts properly, so the blood flows properly, so that you're biomechanically the most efficient that you can be. Right?
There you go.
Yeah. So, how do you feel about cryotherapy?
I definitely love cryotherapy, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not a ice bath cryotherapy. I'm a cold air cryotherapy.
Absolutely.
Give me the 35 seconds to 1 minute and a half in the cryotherapy tank, and I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm not getting an ice bath, bro. It ain't just
3 minutes.
It ain't happening.
That 3 minute is the one I usually do, where you stand up and you get three minutes, and I swear to you, it's like all the aches and pains are like gone after that 3 minutes, right? But is it the same as doing the ice bath, do you believe, or do you think the ice bath is better? I know it's more painful.
I don't have an answer. No. Only time I did an ice bath was in 2001 in November. Was probably one of the toughest weeks in practice I'd had, and no, I just ain't. Now, listen, I've done a polar bear plunger before in Atlantic City when they do it there. Hard pass.
Yeah,
hard pass.
I'm trying to get the nerve up to do it. I know I started getting up in the morning and doing like keeping the shower on as cold as it go, and I jump in, but I really haven't been able to make it past three minutes in there. I mean,
I ain't getting 3 minutes in there.
It's rough. It takes your breath away, man.
It does. No, hard pass.
But you really feel like
nope.
Almost like euphoric when you're done. It's just like everything's alive, awake.
You awake, all right? you awake, all right? No, I'm a punk. I'm a punk. I'm a big punk, and I'm not. No.
Yeah. One thing I wish I had done before I tore my pec is Graston's.
Really?
Right, yeah, like Graston's technique of, where they take the metal tools and get in there and separate the fascia and get real deep and break all that up, that scar tissue up that you're creating. It really creates a whole different level of flexibility.
Of course, get more blood flow to your muscle tissue and everything. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's I've been doing it religiously every week, like twice a week when I get ready for shows. And as painful as it is, it's definitely one of the best things, not only for function though, but you'll be amazed at how much the muscle will grow.
Really?
Increase in growth you'll have when you open up all that tissue and you're not binded up, and more blood flow, more nutrients, and you can get just more stretch and a better contraction.
Okay.
Yeah, so Graston's is definitely another one to not only help prevent, but also if you have an injury, to help you heal faster. Is there any other techniques you ever use acupuncture or anything like that?
I've done acupuncture before. I'm just not real good at getting butts and needles.
Right.
I do enough, bro. I do chiropractic medicine. I get deep tissue massages, especially when I get to around 8 weeks out. Then I really get all the extra stuff done. I mean, obviously everything costs, so
sure.
Got to make sure we keep the price of the prep
reasonable. Sure. Yeah, definitely. I mean, what they say, LeBron spends like over $1 million on his
$1 million
body.
a year for a trainer. That's right.
Right. So not just his trainer, but like his.
No, the trainer gets $980,000 a year.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Not the whole team, just his trainer.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's worth it, right? 20 years in the league.
Oh, I mean, well, when you're a billionaire, $980,000 is like $90 to us, right? So it's crazy.
I think a million's still a million, but
it is. But I mean, if you got $1 billion, I mean, what do you? It's like us having $10,000. What do you care about dollars? So,
I care about it. I care about it.
But, well, you're gonna pay it in taxes anyway, right? So.
Yeah.
But the idea that the price and cost and all that kind of stuff, like if you can't train because of efficiently, all the injuries we're talking about right now, they won't necessarily keep you from training completely, but they will keep you from being able to train 100%, and they will keep you adjusting everything to work around certain ailments, right?
Right.
So, but tendonitis is one of the worst ones, so definitely have the stretch therapy places. We're running that at the Diamond State now, and what a difference it makes when you're consistently getting
Sure.
Assisted stretching. Right? Like it's just such a difference from just typical dynamic or static stretching on your own. That assisted stretching is it's really made a difference for me in my lower back.
Right.
Made a difference for me in terms of my shoulders. So if you're not doing that, there's definitely
Opportunity there for sure.
there. You can definitely look at abphysiques.fit. We're running it at the Diamond State Iron consistently, and we're also talking about doing some pop-ups here at the Butterfly Effect here in Middletown, Delaware. So
Definitely.
Give that a shot. Other than that, I think, are we missing anything?
No, I mean massage, chiropractor, stretch, chirotherapy. I mean acupuncture I'm not as familiar with.
I did acupuncture one time. I had really strained my hamstring. I was doing a split and the rug caught me on stage, and I had to keep going with it. And I really got myself in this hamstring area. And we did acupuncture, and man, like you deal with a strain. I mean, how long would it take you to heal from that? Like 3 weeks?
3 weeks, 4 weeks maybe,
right?
yeah.
I swear to you, I was back to doing everything with no problems, splits and everything within like 2 weeks, and I was doing acupuncture therapy. So definitely nothing to shake your head at. It's definitely a good way to
Cupping. I've never done cupping before. I never had the little circles all over my body before, but
cupping. Yes, increase that blood flow, lift that fascia. I mean, a lot of people swear by it.
yeah,
I mean, if you got to walk around with dots all over your back, it's got to be doing something, man. So
yeah.
But yeah, cupping, that's another one. But what we're saying is basically there's more to it to be successful long term than just going in the gym, lifting some weights. Obviously the things you can control, consistently stretch, warm up properly, and make sure you are using great technique when you train. But outside of that, if you're going to do this competitively, if you're going to do this to hit any real physique goals or strength goals and things like that, you're going to be pushing your body to different levels. And whenever you're pushing your body to different levels, definitely take advantage of massage, definitely take advantage of cryotherapy, definitely take advantage of chiropractic. And then the other stuff like the cupping, the acupuncture, the Graston, all of these things are other things you can add in that are secondary to those main three. I believe. So I hope that helps a little bit, but definitely there's a lot of great therapists in the area, definitely in this area of Delaware, wherever you're watching it from. I'm sure there's great therapists around you, so don't be afraid, check them out. They're advancing those techniques all the time, and I know for what we're doing, a more holistic approach and all the way around, not just nutritionally, but also when it comes to treatments, it's going to be work more synergistically with a weight training, fitness type lifestyle.
Sure. Well, that's what we have. I mean, even here, we do offer massage therapy every Friday for our clients.
Oh, nice.
And it's a stretch. Yeah, we just started 3 weeks ago. She comes in for 4 hours for scheduled appointments with our folks here. So
Gotcha. That's good to know.
It's You know, it's one of those things. We're trying to make this a place where everything when it comes to health and fitness is
Like a wellness center.
yeah,
Not just a gym.
not just the
Yeah.
fitness studio precisely.
I like it. Sorry, fitness studio. I'm sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
Fitness studio.
Fitness studio.
The gym's up the street down there.
I like it. I like it. Your training studio is definitely doing great.
It's good enough.
Great things. So, coming up on the holidays, Thanksgiving next week.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do we help these great people not sabotage their goals when we get around the holidays?
The first thing is to log in at 5 a.m. to my YouTube channel on Thanksgiving morning to do our free fitness class.
Oh, snap.
Burn off the extra 300 calories in the morning before you get started.
Like it. I like
That's
it.
the first thing to do.
I like it.
And it's free. YouTube, Best in Delaware, will drop the link down below on this video. But it's a balance. You know, I've heard some mixed things. You'll tell me your thoughts on this. So, one of the fitness influencers says that the best thing to do is to not count your calories for the day, to count your calories for the week. And at the end of the week, you have accomplished your goal if you've managed your calories the right way.
Right.
Because the end results still going to be the same, because numbers are numbers and calories are calories.
Right.
You know, unless you're looking for a specific goal, if you're, you know, competing or something like that, then it's different. But, you know, most people are trying to be within reason. I say, use the rule of your hands. Protein, the size of your palm. 2 handfuls of vegetables, half a palm of carbohydrates, and a pinky for fats.
Yeah, but you don't want people to enjoy the holiday.
Let's enjoy the holiday.
Well, I mean, the half the palm for the carbohydrate, you ain't getting much. You're not getting no pie, you're not getting no sweet potato casserole, you're not getting none of that.
It's a lifestyle. So if you're in competition mode, it's one thing. But for a lifestyle, one day ain't gonna ruin your work.
Right, enjoy yourself,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so
Yeah.
I think we're saying the same thing, but you put that out there like you want them to do that on
But
Thanksgiving.
I want them to do that if they don't have the opportunity to bring their food with them where they're going.
Right.
You know, and if you think that overindulging is something that you are probably gonna do, that's a good idea to try. Or 2 glasses of water in between every plate. Just different ways
great
to
way,
manage
yeah.
to manage it. You know, I'm not a big alcohol drinker. You know, just 2 times a year do I drink, so that doesn't really bother me. But a lot of people do drink a lot of wine on Thanksgiving. So, you know, you got to understand what alcohol does to your body, right? Your body wants to expel the poison first. So all your food and your nutrients are going to sit while your body tries to kick out all the alcohol.
Sure.
But while you're drinking more alcohol, your inhibition goes down, so you start eating more and more and more and more. So now you have a big bolus of food that's not being thoroughly processed,
Right.
and you end
Stored
up
as fat,
just kicked out of your butt, and that's about all.
Yeah, you store a lot of it too.
Yeah.
But so what I tell people is enjoy the day, but don't do it. But the Thanksgiving meal is not all day. The Thanksgiving meal is at a set time. So the worst thing you can do is try and eat a little less earlier to try and compensate for that time. And the reason why is because you're just going to overeat because you're hungry for not eating more earlier.
That's right.
So just do your meals as normal. So I don't know, some people eat as early as 12, some people eat as late as 6, 7 or 8, depending on what family you're in. But whatever it is, you just treat it like any other day, except
Exactly.
you allow yourself to enjoy that time with your family. And, you know, we've gotten so used to in this country, everything surrounding food, and that's how everything is celebrated, right? Like,
That's a fact.
You know, football game, oh man, who's got the wings, who's got the pizza, who's got the subs, you know, Christmas, what are you having for dinner? Almost even more than what presents you're getting, right? Like,
Yeah, what you got for dinner, right?
What's the meal going to be for the family? And, you know, the traditions of having fishes and all this other stuff. Like, everything surrounds food. So the best thing you can do is control outside of those actual meals. And that is, you get up, if you're used to doing cardio first thing in the morning, you still do your cardio first thing in the morning.
That's it.
You know, if you're used to working out and it falls on a day you would typically train, find a way to typically train. There's so many 24 hours places now that's not an issue. And then that 2-3 hours that you're enjoying with your family, have whatever you want. Enjoy yourself. But if you eat the meals ahead of time, you'll realize, a taste of this, a taste of that, a taste of this will be good enough.
Yep.
And you won't be that guy that's sitting there rubbing his belly after the meal's over, talking about, oh, I'm so tired, I want to sleep.
That's it.
And you feel like garbage. I mean, if you happen to do that, just get up the next morning and get back on the plan.
Just don't be like Larry Wheels and gain 53 pounds in 5 days.
I was proud of Larry. That's the kind of shit I do.
That's crazy, bro.
Shit I do.
He had edema on his legs.
Yeah.
He left fingerprints when he squeezed his calf.
I know.
That's crazy.
Kudos to him for having the guts to show that to the world, because
That's really dangerous,
that's
bro.
me after every show, and I just don't show it.
That's really dangerous, bro.
Oh, God. But, yeah, I mean, he likes to eat. He's a foodie, and, he just went in. He just went in. And for me, typically that only happens when, after this last prep, I kind of had a little bit of it because we dieted so long and so hard that I just didn't want to see anything that was remotely healthy. Right?
Remotely healthy.
Not even remotely. I don't think I had a piece of chicken or anything called with ground turkey for at least 2 weeks after that show. It's crazy. I think everything.
Again, 40 pounds in 2 weeks.
Yeah, was it only 40 pounds?
I think it was 40 pounds in 2 weeks, bro.
I definitely didn't do a good job on that. It should have been more than that. It was only
Maybe
40 pounds in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I don't know. But either way, I mean, like now, I know it's going too far when you, on your cheat meals, can down a large sub from Jersey Mike's, a large cheesesteak from Jersey Mike's, and half a pizza. You're going too far.
Way too much.
Right, but yeah, I can do it.
I can't eat that much anymore.
I can do it, and then still not even be grotesquely overly full. So, but yeah, man, we're but that's the tips you should use. I love the water tip. That's a great one, because a lot of times it's not about really being hungry. It's about the hormonal aspect of where you're at, the psychological aspect of it's the holidays, and all of these things cause you to have this false belief that I need to eat more, need to eat more. And if you do the water thing, it'll slow you down, make you think about what you're doing, and you'll find that you might have one plate
And be good.
So I think that's the way to do it. Follow your plan as normal. Enjoy your family. Eat slower.
And don't call me when you stuck. Not on Thanksgiving. I don't want no calls on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I was getting ready the 1 year for the Arnold and had Thanksgiving, and I called my coach, can I have a cheat meal? And he said exactly what you said. He said, this is a lifestyle. If you want to have something, have it, but get right back on the plan.
Yeah.
And when you keep that metabolism rolling, it's not going to really hurt you. One meal is never going to hurt you. It's when you get up the next day and say,
Leftovers.
Leftovers, and you continue to eat. Now your caloric balance is so far off. You're in such a surplus that your body has to start storing, because there's no way you can exercise that off. So try those tips. Hopefully they help you. Yeah, so what else we got on this thing? Someone asked me today, what kind of supersets? What's the purpose of supersetting? What you got on that?
Well, supersets are, to me, it's an advanced thing, because I think that if you're doing a superset right and you're pushing the first half of it all the way, if you're not able to perform at that level for the next exercise, I think it's defeating the purpose, at least to me. I think that for somebody who's a more experienced lifter, it's a good thing, but it is definitely a good way to activate. Let's say you're doing biceps and whatever, you want to do barbell and then you do hammer, you're doing the long head and short head back to back. It's something good for them, but somebody who's not accustomed to the grip strength that you're going to need to execute the exercise properly, I think can have a negative, it can have a diminishing return.
Sure.
So just it's a tool like anything else.
Right.
It's not something that I employ often because it's not typically the type of clients that I work with. Most of my folks are just trying to maintain and build a healthier physique, not necessarily a pro form physique. And I don't have any people who are hardcore trainers enough where that would be beneficial. You know, sometimes I mix it in where we'll do something like a dumbbell bicep curl where we're doing hammers, and then we'll do an easy curl bar right
Sure.
after, but only for like maybe 10 reps and 10 reps or 12 reps and 12 reps. Never anything where we're getting like a serious pump, like you would get on 21s and then hit with a drop set with dumbbells going all the way, 5 sets straight down,
Right.
something like that. I typically don't train that way.
Gotcha.
But they're effective. You want a sick pump, you want to do some serious muscle growth, it'll definitely put some hair in your chest.
So, for the advanced lifter, do you believe supersets are necessary?
I think that there is no definitive necessary.
Right.
I think that everything has its place
Sure.
in training. I'm relatively strong for my age, height, weight, etc. But when I'm training with you, it's inevitable that I'm going to be sore because you kind of know what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. So, we'll do a superset. Okay, Walter, we'll do his leg press, and you jump and do these leg curls or do leg extensions, whatever it is. But we're not going to do them. We're going to do them in a gauntlet style. So for 1, you do 1, for 2, you do 2, we'll go up to 20, and then we'll do something, so to challenge me in a different way. So I think that they do have a purpose and a point, but it's not something you do consistently, right? Because you never fucking make it.
Right.
So it's a good mix.
Yeah, I mean, in the off season, I don't like them because you're sacrificing, maximizing the output in terms of intensity through weight. You're sacrificing that because your endurance fails you. Right, in the off season because you're carrying more weight than typical. I like them when we're getting ready for shows towards that last stretch, that 4 to 6 weeks, because no matter how strong you are, your strength will sacrifice when you go boom, boom, right? So I love supersets pre-exhausting, like, incline fly to a flat chest press, or a flat fly with the incline chest press. Like, just doing that pre-exhaust allows me to not only keep the muscle under tension longer, back to back, boom, boom, but it also allows me to get the same effect that I would get, to keep it simple. I can get just as much breakdown and mechanical tension from 225 as I could for 315 when I'm bringing it from flat dumbbell flies, right? And another way I like to use supersets, or like in Charles Poliquin had that German or that body composition program, the German body composition program, German comp program. And what I loved about it is it was upper, lower. Now, a lot of people get very nauseous when you do it correctly, so I've modified it so I can keep my clients wanting to come back. Right. But it's like where you superset an upper body with a lower body. And I like to do, and I've gotten great results with it. I like to do this with my clients that can only train twice a week, and I know they're not training on their own. Right. So they come in, and like I might say, okay, this week we're going to prioritize supersets for back and lower body, guy traps and lower body, and maybe a bicep lower body. And it'd be like A1, A2, B1, B2, all the way up to D1, D2, like that. So they're getting 8 total exercises, 2 to 3 working sets on those exercises. The upper body is in the 10 to 12 range, the lower body is in that 15 to 20 range, right? You're creating so much lactic acid in the body that the acute growth hormone response causes your body to mobilize more body fat than you typically would throughout the workout. So I love that type of supersetting split for, especially if you're limited on time. You can only train 3 days a week, 2 days a week, and you're trying to get the most out of it, and you're trying to lose a lot of body fat. It's a great system to use. And I already, like I said, so pre-contest to minimize injury and stress and cortisol production from putting too much stress on your body by trying to do too heavy weight at the end. It also, when you do those, you're doing higher reps, but still able to push more weight because you might only be able to do, if I told you to do 20 reps for incline flies, you're going to probably use 20s and 30s. But I would tell you only got 10 reps, you're more likely to grab the 50s and 60s. So you're getting more demand, placing more demand or more intensity through weight, and then you're jumping right over to your pressing movement.
Right.
And so you're just getting more out of both by supersetting in that manner, right? Instead of do 20 reps over bench press.
Right.
The weight's going to be less, right? So I love that aspect of supersetting for that.
I've tried it, but with the beginner to even intermediate, it's still hard to get them.
Sure.
So I kind of stick with, I'll do volume and then I'll back it down. So let's say for our warm-up sets, we'll do 2 sets, maybe 15, 30-second break, 15 again. And then as we decrease the rep range, we'll increase the weight. And then instead of getting 30 seconds in between, you get 45 or 50 seconds in between. So you're just at the edge of your heart rate coming back down, and then we hit it back again.
A non-traditional superset can actually be ultra beneficial for someone like you and I, because if we do, like say our A1 and A2 is pull-ups, and we're doing an antagonist, right? So we're doing the antagonist of the muscle group we're working. So let's just say, to keep it real basic, we're doing a seated row followed by a chest press, and we're taking 60 to 90 seconds in between that, but you're going back to back. The pump you will get, because as one stretches, the other one's always going to contract stronger.
Right.
So that constant push-pull in that superset fashion is going to give you a crazy workout from the standpoint of the pumps are going to be crazy, and how much muscle fiber you're able to stimulate on the other side when you come off doing seated rows, how much you can push and how much more you'll feel it. It's crazy. So I love doing that. And then one I used to use way back in the day when I had beginners that are trying to just lose weight, would be like a chest exercise or a shoulder exercise supersetted with an ab exercise. That I've seen that work really well too. So
I don't do too many ab exercises, truth be told.
Really? Well, I mean, if you're doing things that stabilize,
you squeeze your core, we're doing everything. I preset every single day.
Right.
No sit-ups with abs. How do you do that? Easy. Squeeze your core, eat right. I mean, that's the that's the fastest way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, Dexter had the best abs in the game, and he never did abs, right?
That's right. You do sit-ups every day. You have a square block your waist, and you wonder why.
That is true. The 1 year, 2010, when I trained for nationals, I did so much ab work, and I almost lost the nationals because they said my waist had gotten thicker. So I still, I do more than I used to, only because of my lower back and the integrity of that. But and as I get older, I think you need to do a little more to keep that core strong. But
he is old.
Yeah.
He's a grandpa.
Yeah, I am a grandpa. Hey, Kyla. But, in terms of ab workouts all the time, I don't think they're necessary, especially if you're doing some deadlifts, if you're throwing in anything that stabilizes your core, push press, stuff like that.
Right, like that,
Yeah. But, yeah.
Whichever than that, it's I think that the biggest takeaway from all the things, whether it's from your rest and recovery, whether it's from your meal planning, whether it's from even your training, guys, I think the most important thing is it's being sure that you find what works for you, right? And making sure your coach knows what works for you. That's why you hire us to do what we do. I don't know that there is one style of exercise or dieting or recovery that it's better than the other. But I do think that whatever it is that you're doing, be consistent with it so you can see the results, because all these things are things that happen over time. They're not things that happen, do it one time, you fix. No, it's a consistent thing, like using supplements, like anything. There's nothing that's going to change, tomorrow. So just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, I had a client come to me and said, I'd like to do the same routine over and over. And I just asked him, as I said, you like to do the same routine over and over because you get better at that routine.
Bingo.
Right. But then I asked this question, and this is just playing devil's advocate here. Is being great at a routine optimal for growth? Right? It is for performance.
Right.
Definitely is for strength. But is it optimal for growth? Because one of the things that creates the mechanical tension that we need is failing at that movement. And if you're constantly doing the same movements over and over, for instance, I'm really good at bent over rows, I want to keep bent over rows. Okay, that's fine. But do you agree you do need to change nuances within doing those bent over rows to continually get your body to adapt and change, right? So I think that's where people get the science mixed up, is a lot of the research is done for sports performance, not for just hypertrophy and bodybuilding.
Right.
So when you take that and kind of practically apply it, you realize, okay, if I do switch it up and I'm doing different exercises all the time, yes, I'm not going to be greatly efficient at any of them, but does that matter when it comes to hypertrophy? And that's what you got to ask yourself, because there's two schools of thought. For me, I don't believe it matters. I built a lot of muscle over time, and I trained as a powerlifter for a long time, and in that you're becoming really good at particular movements. And I looked really good and I was super strong, but I got a whole lot bigger when I switched to making sure that I was going to failure no matter what I was doing, and it wasn't necessarily always the same thing. So I think as long as you continue to make your body adapt in some way, somehow, throughout each workout, you're good. You're good.
So what do you think about people who come train for the first time and next day or 2 days later, they're absolutely dying because their legs are on fire or their arms or their chest is on fire because they haven't trained in either years or never? What do you think is the best type of recovery for that type of person, a newbie person?
So they come in, they have a good training session, and they're overly sore 2 days later, but they're supposed to train again.
Right.
I think if they train those muscle groups with 1 or 2 sets light, you push blood flow in there and push that lactic acid out. So you aid in recovering faster from that. And now as a beginner, the fastest way to get your loads up so that you can see a difference in the muscle tissue and create some level of muscle density, which whether you're trying to be a bodybuilder or just trying to lose body fat, the more muscle you carry, the faster your rest of metabolism, right? So it's still important to gain some muscle. I think from that aspect, you come in, you push the recovery by doing a movement that you did before that caused you to get so sore, but you do it lighter and for more reps, just to push that blood in there, push that lactic acid out. Like almost active recovery.
That's one of the things, I think that some people get, it really prevents some folks from coming back, is that first workout, almost death-like feeling they get. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sore, something's wrong. So listen to what he said, the active recovery on the next day or on the next workout is very, very key to making sure that you reduce that pain and inflammation, because lactic acid is real. The little 5 minutes we do, or you do after the workout and the stretch afterwards, isn't going to prevent that lactic acid buildup, right? Because that's what happens when the muscle tissue breaks down. That's a chemical that your body releases. So it's important that you do take that active recovery. And like Fred said, muscle growth is what increases your metabolism. So one of the conversations kind of leads to the next conversation is people who do a crap ton of cardio and just look like string beans.
Well, here's the problem. Here's the catch-22 though. I have a lady who came to me. She had done Orange Theory forever. And she could not lose this last 10 pounds.
Right.
Because she was not only dropping body fat, but she was dropping muscle the whole
tissue.
time too.
That's right.
So now her metabolism is slower than when she started.
Yep.
So now that last 5 to 10 pounds, the body's fighting to keep it.
Because it needs it.
And
Right.
Right. Because you're not doing anything to maintain
The muscle.
the muscle tissue because you're only doing cardio.
That's right. And that's the key.
Now,
Because you got to have muscle tissue. So
Right.
you can't look at the scale as the only arbiter of health.
absolutely.
And that's what I tell my clients. You know, a thermometer is a lot like a scale. How, Walter? Because the thermometer could say it's 85 degrees, but it could be pouring down raining, but you got on shorts and a tank top.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
thermometer is not wrong,
Right.
but it's not giving you all the information.
Sure, that's a great analogy.
You know,
That's a great one.
so
I love that.
I want you, Mr. and Mrs. People, John Q, clients in the world, to understand that
That's
we
a great one.
all want to hit a certain number, but do you want to look like a deflated balloon?
Yeah, because there's a
Or
lot
do
of skinny
you
fats
want to
out there.
look like someone who actually trains and be someone who actually trains? So building your muscle tissue is how you increase your metabolism, right?
Sure.
Because the amount of caloric burn that your muscle tissue creates is far greater than that the fat tissue creates.
Yeah.
So yes, you'll get when you do cardio an afterburn. Conversely, when you strength train, you may not lose as much calorie or burn as many calories while you're lifting as you do doing cardio. But what will happen though is as you increase your muscle mass, your body becomes more calorically expensive. So my resting metabolic rate is around 3,700 calories. So in other words, if I do what I do every single day and I eat 3,700 calories a day, I'm going to maintain a 231-pound physique. Period. Full stop. As long as I train and eat that amount of calories. But that's a good amount of food. 31. It ain't 20,000 a day like Larry Will did after the show. But 3,100 calories, 3,500 calories a day. It's a lot.
That's a lot.
You
It's
know,
definitely a lot.
so it's how do you find and get it in your head that it's not just cardio? Because how many people aren't in shape that go to do cardio classes every day? You know, it's the folks who do strength training that really see the difference, and especially as we get older, strength training is paramount. You know, losing 3% of bone density every single year is a big deal. Losing your muscle mass is a big deal.
Absolutely.
You know, all those things are all components that fit into the big puzzle that helps us recreate or find our fountain of youth.
Yeah. The caveat to that is, and what you got to watch out for, is when you start training and adding that muscle tissue, your appetite will increase. So you still have to be mindful of how you're eating, even though you're doing more cardio, even though you're lifting more, because your appetite's going to continue to increase. So yeah, that's where the discipline comes in, right?
Sure.
That's where the discipline comes in. But that's why it's always helpful to have a guided plan and someone to be accountable to. Because as your appetite increases, if you know you got to be accountable to check-ins on a particular day, you will continue to follow the caloric count your coach or trainer has you on. When you're kind of eating by feel, your frustration will set in because you turn around and go, how did I lose any weight? And I'm working out harder.
That's right.
Because you're eating to compensate for the amount of calories you're yielding.
And you can't out-train a bad diet.
No, you can't. So definitely can't. Well, Walter, anything else you got?
No, that's it, man. I'm tapped out.
I feel you. Well, I hope that helps you out. You know, remember those holiday tips so you don't sabotage your goals throughout this process. Remember to always look after your health, not just intrinsically but externally as you're working out, because we're putting our bodies through a lot of stress, wear and tear in an effort to look our best and claim your best body. But when we do that, you must do preventative maintenance, and that's massage, the cryotherapy, and all that kind of stuff. And so once again, thanks for tuning in.
Definitely.
We came up with these topics because we got some great questions over the week. So please put a question below. We read them. Put a comment on. Hit a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Peace.
Peace.